Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and I don't have any comics today. You already know what's going on. I woke up today, saw Ethan Van Sciver posted his stream about pulling out of Comicsgate, divorcing Comicsgate is his words, along with some other prominent Comicsgate artists. And I was going to make a video about it. I was like, well, this is something to talk about. I had a lot to say about it. And as I was watching the stream, I wanted to make sure that I watched that whole stream first before I actually made comments. I mean, I just saw the headlines and I was like, oh boy. I've been kind of following a little bit about the drama and bullshit and everything. So, well, I got to watch this stream to make sure that I at least know what was said and I represent people correctly and so forth. And then during that stream, I was watching it. Well, I was watching the replay of the stream. You know, the news hit. And, rest in peace, Stan. You were the best of us. And, even though you weren't Comicsgate, I won't attach Comicsgate to you. The things you stood for about comics and the things that fans who support Comicsgate fight for, shout for, are what you brought to us. You taught us what to love about comics, and you made, well, not you. I mean, you wouldn't even say it yourself. It was a collaboration of many, many, many people over many decades. But you were the, I don't want to say figurehead. You weren't the leader, but you were the inspiration. You were the one that everyone followed. And you weren't a perfect person. You weren't a god. And I'm sure there's going to be the haters that jump in and bring up the issues of Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and so forth. But, no one's perfect. This is here to remember the great things that you brought to us and the good parts about you that we all loved. And I think it's fair to say that if you didn't love Stan Lee, you didn't love comics. And thank you for bringing me something that has meant a great deal in my life. And you've helped so many people, brought a lot of joy, entertainment, and you will be forever missed. You are on the Mount Rushmore of comics, for sure. Oh, boy. A lot of people are making videos about Stan and what he means to them. And I still have to go watch Diversity in Comics. And I'm probably going to watch EVS's stream about Stan. And even though I don't like EVS's content so much, when he actually talks about comics, I do like to hear what he has to say. And there'll be other great YouTubers to listen to. I don't have anything that off. I was planning on talking about EVS, and that's what this video is going to be. But I didn't want to just launch this video when this is actually more important. And I just want to at least have a header in my video to tribute Stan Lee, remember his importance. And I don't know if I'll make another video later about him. I think there's a lot of comics pros and scholars and people who are probably more eloquent than me that will say everything that I want to say. And maybe if they don't, I can add later. I just don't have anything more now. And I'm sure you guys all have your own thoughts about the man himself. Whew. Yeah. Moving on. I want to thank, not this, you. Omni Agent #1, thanks for following me. Thought this would be a cool thing to add to my feeds content-wise. People that follow me, and I'm sorry if I'm sniffling in the video. I've had bronchitis, head cold. I'm a mess. I'll try to mute if I have to make bodily noises if I can, so I don't turn off everyone. But if I don't catch them all, please forgive me. Omni Agent, thanks for following me. I'm going to check out your Twitter, and if you have a video feed or YouTube, let me know. I always do check out people that have similar content. Speaking about, I don't have anything to put up here as a thing. Let's put up Stan's, one of my favorite things that Stan ever did. That was the Bill of Rights. So, Ethan Van Sciver, prominent comic artist of 25 years, talented YouTuber in his own right. The guy definitely could have a career in radio. He's got a great voice, great commentary, he's a good personality. I genuinely like the guy from what I know about him. I don't know him personally. We don't hang out in person, so there's only so much I can know about the gentleman. But I have talked to him, on social media, and I've DM'd him, and he's always been professional and nice, and he's listened to me, and I've always given him a chance, and I do believe that while he doesn't do everything that I agree with, he acts with integrity, and I respect that a lot out of someone. Integrity is a big deal, and I believe Ethan has it. Some people believe that he's two-faced or whatever, and I just think that's a shallow viewpoint, and seeing what you want when someone you don't want to, you don't agree with someone. Anyways, down to brass tacks. Ethan had a live stream on debate with himself and John Malin debating Englandine from I Love Comics and Unranked Chevron all-around Comicsgate personality, who I also believe he has his own channel as well. I shouldn't forget that. And basically, this all started from those two having on a stream talking about their dislike of what's going on with Comicsgate, and EVS sort of being the head of a faction of Comicsgate, which I kind of point to as like all the pros, and their dislike of what is going on with that and how it's affecting the comic book's name, and they don't like the appearance that EVS has sort of taken charge of Comicsgate and declared ownership of it, and by trademarking the Comicsgate name has sort of in fact declared that, like officially. EVS, to his part, trademarked the name to protect it from other entities such as Vox Day, who's a hard right-winger, to my understanding. I don't actually know as much about Vox Day as I should. And they didn't want him owning that, and he was going to make a comic book company, publishing, called Comicsgate Comics, which is very problematic. And I have to say, I appreciate Ethan doing that, but trying to protect Comicsgate. Ethan has done a lot for Comicsgate, and this video is going to be about a disagreement with Ethan, but I really want to state that my disagreement is only in part. I very still much respect what he's doing, and I also have to understand that my opinions come from a person who is a complete fan. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars riding on the line. I don't have, a 25-year career in comics that is still going forward and building, that I'm trying to protect and trying to build and grow. I don't have these concerns that EVS has. So my motives and his motives are naturally not in line. And I respect that even though that Ethan has all this, that he still looks out for comic skaters. Now, some people say, well, that's because he's trying to, make money and he wants those people to all buy his books, so be it. That's part of what Comicsgate is about, right? It's about pros being professional to the community. We want pros catering towards the customers, us. That's part of the agenda of Comicsgate. And for those of you who may feel like everyone's got a different definition of Comicsgate, I'm going to restate from a previous video that I did about Comicsgate and what it is. Comicsgate is two things. And in fact, it's Monday. It's my time. I got to retweet my Monday tweet about Comicsgate. That Comicsgate is two things. In fact, we can pull that up, right? My Monday should be, I haven't tweeted that much in the past week. Should be pretty close here. Here we go. Comicsgate is against social engineering and propaganda replacing good stories and talent in pre-existing comics. And it's also against pros acting unprofessionally and showing contempt and hate for the fans. And I can state that this is Comicsgate is without trying to assert leadership over Comicsgate, because I defined this and I took this by taking everyone who is vocal about Comicsgate and boiling down the consistent things that everyone agrees on. And these are the two things. There's other things that Comicsgaters fight for, but not universally. Some Comicsgaters don't care. Some Comicsgaters really care about Indiegogo campaigns and having a whole new avenue of comics to buy from. I don't, and a lot of Comicsgaters don't. So you can't say unilaterally that's what Comicsgate is about. But the two things, if you really boil it down, that no one really disagrees with, unless you're just trying to be an asshat contrarian, if you're truly about Comicsgate, you agree with these two things. So it's not me making a statement, this is what Comicsgate is. This is me surveying Comicsgaters and saying, let's get down to the bottom of what it is. And this is Comicsgate. Ethan doesn't, he's one of those people that doesn't agree. And that's fine. Ethan's motives are different. He's trying to make money. He's trying to appeal to us. He's being this second line here. He's doing exactly what we should like. The problem is Ethan has also been involved as a leader in Comicsgate. His very popularity, his celebrity status, if you will, has lent him a lot of fans. Those fans, like everything else in society, they listen to celebrities. I don't know why people listen to celebrities, but they do. So be it. He's got way more people that are going to agree with him that are going to agree with me. He's got way more people that agree with even Eglantine and Unranked Chevron, who have been around for years, because he's a celebrity. Now the problem is you conflate this popularity with legitimacy. And I have a huge disagreement with you, Ethan. You're probably never going to listen to this. You don't have time. But maybe it gets around you. I don't know. So I'll just assume that you might. Ethan, you're wrong to call these guys little guys. You're wrong to berate them. You're free to disagree with them. And you're free to have your own motivations that don't align with theirs. But I really hate it when I see you, just being like, oh, they're just... You belittle them because you're a big fish. And you're a big fish because you're a great comics illustrator and you're a charismatic person and you can come across it on YouTube. And good for you on that. But it really, really stinks. It puts a stink on you when you have those blessings and you turn around and you throw that stink on people like Chevron and Eglantine and call them, little guys and just make them sound insignificant and, and then use your fan base to be like, oh, I have thousands of people agreeing with me and look at them. They don't have no one. Like, that's bullshit. You have thousands of people agreeing with you because you're EVS, right? You take away the Comics Pro, you take away the Cyberfrog and all this, and you put yourself down, into their numbers, of single-digit thousands of fans, followers, it's a whole different playing field. And it's, I hate this stupid SJW term, punching down, but that's kind of what that means. And it really bothers me to watch him on his latest stream kind of act like this. And during, it's, England team apologized to him, apparently, and so EVS is now like, well, he's apologized, and, we accept apologies around here, whatever, and good for you. I'm glad you accept apologies, but don't brag about it. Don't make it sound like, oh, look at how great I am because I accepted apologies. No, you do it because it's the right thing, and you just move on, and you love one another, not turn it around into something to, like, puff your chest about. And then turn around and then you punch down against Unranked Chevron because Unranked didn't apologize to you. It's like, come on, man. I thought you were the bigger man. And that really bothers me. But, I'm not perfect either. And no one's perfect. So this is just me disagreeing. Doesn't make Ethan a devil. I still, like I said, I think he's a good guy. And I think he has done a shit ton for Comicsgate. Especially considering the circumstances he's in. He could easily have just been like, fuck Comicsgate, like 6 months ago. And moved on. I mean, just with the Star Wars audience alone, he gets way more attention from them than the comics fans. But he has paid it back. He has stood up for things. I think the problem that I'm observing now is that he's just been pushed too far. And he's had enough. And I was kind of worried about this. And he's letting it show. So he made this video where it's about divorcing Comicsgate. He's going off and doing his own thing with All Caps Comics. And more power to him. Honestly, I think that's a great thing. I always have thought that pros are not Comicsgate. Pros can support Comicsgate and be aligned with Comicsgate and be friends to Comicsgate and especially be doing what Ethan is doing and trying to cater their patronage. That is all fine and good. But when you try to represent Comicsgate and speak for Comicsgate and co-opt it and say, okay, here's all this movement of fans, instead of just appealing to them as a professional and saying, look, I got the kind of hot dogs you guys like, come buy them, branding them and like lumping them into some sort of club that you control so that they basically just buy your hot dogs only because it's just tasteful. And it reminds me of many years ago, if we're going to be political, about the Tea Party. The Tea Party started off, if anyone is political, they'll kind of remember this, as a grassroots movement kind of around Ron Paul, the way Comicsgate rallied around Richard C. Meyer. Even though Richard didn't start Comicsgate, he was sort of like the pioneer that made it like big and fanned the flames and got it really going, snowballed it. Ron Paul was kind of the same way with the Tea Party movement. He didn't officially say I'm the leader of it, but he was in that same position. Well, as that Tea Party movement got bigger and bigger and really started being significant, and the new elections were coming around, sure enough, the Republican Party came in, Sarah Palin, and they were like, oh, we're all the Tea Party, and co-opted it. And it really changed what it was about. And then you had the left criticizing the Tea Party, and were rightly so, because they were criticizing the things that had come in afterwards that really were not what it was about. And unfortunately, the Tea Party had changed, and those criticisms were kind of accurate. Well, how does that relate to Comicsgate? Well, in a similar analogy, if we kind of go back to the Jawbreakers and Cyberfrog campaigns, the success of those blowing up, and Ethan kind of really going, oh, I'm going to take advantage of this. And Richard was more of just cool about it. Like, I made a bunch of money, and he didn't really change what he was doing other than to sort of back away from Comicsgate a little bit. Not back away, but back away from how he participated. Because he's like, oh, shoot, I'm a pro now, and I can't behave the way that I used to criticize pros for behaving, and I'm a hypocrite. So he kind of ran into that problem. Ethan was like, oh, sure, I'm going to bring all my friends. We're going to make a bunch of money, which, again, got no problems with. But then they came in and they immediately like, hey, we're Comicsgate too. And then they started using their names, to kind of like speak for Comicsgate. And it was like, wait a second, Mike S. Miller, 2 weeks in is like acting like he's, second man in charge. It's like, we got people who've been in Comicsgate for years and he's just talking down. And it was kind of offensive. Not necessarily offensive, but just off-putting. It was like, who are you? Just because you came in here and want to sell some Comicsgate or some comics doesn't make you Comicsgate. You're just a capitalist. And we're okay with capitalists, but just say you're a capitalist. No one would have had a problem with any of this if people would have admitted what the deal was. I think a lot of the problem and the drama that we're seeing is this sort of whole misrepresentation. Just say, hey, I'm here to capitalize on Comicsgate. I want to make good comics. I want to live up to what you guys are expecting out of comics, in Comicsgate, and hopefully you'll give me a lot of money. And I'll be the first to applaud you. I think a lot of Comicsgate people, we don't have a problem with that. But when you walk in and try to pretend like you're the freedom fighter that's been in the trenches with the rest, that's disingenuous, and it comes across scummy. Fortunately, EVS has been in the trenches, and so it makes him a different animal. But EVS being the top personality also puts him under the most scrutiny. He's under the most microscope. And I think the big point I want to talk about this is, and I've stated where the things I disagree. I don't like him talking down. And I don't like this idea of like we're divorcing Comicsgate. I'm a big supporter of All Caps Comics. I think EVS has got a great vision, what he's doing. I think it's going to be very healthy for Comicsgate consumers, what we want to see comics. I think that's going to be good for us. But what I don't think is good, and, I'm not going to be worried too much because it's been like one day, things change. But I don't think is good is this whole divorcing Comicsgate. I think a better thing would have been for Ethan to say, look, as a fan, I'm still Comicsgate, but I'm also a pro. So my interests are slightly in conflict. And I'm going to be putting all my heart behind this All Caps Comics and trying to deliver a product that Comicsgate likes. And we benefit each other. You buy my comics, and I make money, and I provide you with good product that you're happy with. And it's a win-win symbiotic relationship. And I'm still in support of Comicsgate and what you guys are doing. I just can't be a frontline representative anymore because I represent two different parts, and that's so. While I'm with you on that, I wish you luck. I gotta turn over to the non creators to act as like the leader, not leaders because it's not really a group, but leadership type roles where they're vocal, like what Zach used to be. Zach never led Comicsgate, but just by his actions and his videos and constantly putting out his ideas and stuff, people just rallied to that and fell in line with those ideas. And even though he wasn't ordering anyone to do anything or saying this is what this is, that's leading by example. And a lot of people who are vocal, if you're a Captain Cummings, let's say, even though he's kind of stepped away, you are leading in a indirect fashion. And that's the kind of people that Comicsgate needs. And I think those are the kind of people, and I wrote Ethan, and I don't know if he actually took time to read it yet. I'm sure he's terribly busy. That's what I encourage him to do, is support that. And say, look, I know you're tired with the drama, but you've got all these other people, that should be directing Comicsgate and being the voices of the people, so to speak. You should be kind of indirectly supporting them. You don't have to speak for anyone. You don't have to, be in charge of anything, and you don't have to be responsible for anything. And God knows he's been saying he's tired of that. Sure. I understand. But we kind of need each other, right? EVS, if you're listening, you made a ton of money, but you made a ton of money because of Comicsgate. And I'm thankful that you have paid it back and you stood up for Comicsgate and you helped build that strength of community. So you're not undeserving of it. But just don't forget where your roots are, right? You want to keep that money growing. You want All Caps to grow. And Comicsgate growing and keeping that unity, that symbiotic relationship between Comicsgate and All Caps is really important. Pros and consumers, it's a symbiotic relationship. And I feel right now it's causing a divide. Good Lord, dog. I don't know why she just decided right then to get all excited. She was lying down quiet. Yeah, and this is I'm going to close. It's getting long. I have my biggest problem, I've talked about the divorce. Secondary, a subset or a side effect of this divorce is division. And right now what I'm seeing is people taking sides, and it's not good for Comicsgate because it makes sense for people like Ethan and John Malin and whatever to be like, look, we're allies with you. We believe in the same things you do, but as pros, our voice is different, and we're here to just try to live up to what you're wanting and represent what comics should be by making those comics. You guys have to be the voice as the consumers. That's great. But other people like Yellow Flash and Umbrella Guy, these were big Comicsgate pillars. And they've joined or, followed Ethan or whatever in this Comicsgate divorce. So this isn't just a world now where Ethan is divorcing Comicsgate, and I've already talked about why I believe that's a bad idea. But now we've got Yellow Flash is no longer Comicsgate, Umbrella Guy is no longer Comicsgate, Edwin Boyd's no longer we've got this huge division in the community. And I can't support that. That's a problem to me. I'm Comicsgate. I'm a consumer. I don't got any comics in the pipeline. I've always been a wannabe writer, and someday maybe I would love to write something. But my agenda isn't there. I'm 100% right now a consumer. And I want comics to be great again. And that means Marvel and DC. And if All Caps Comics can sit right alongside, like the old days when the 7 rock stars that started Image did, the old Image, stood right alongside Marvel, and more power to it. That'd be I would love to see that. But I'm not going to be in this party of fuck Marvel and DC and fuck the whole industry, let it burn, buy our comics instead. No. I'll buy your comics on their own merit. But I didn't join this. I didn't fight this fight. I'm not making this video because I want to see something else that I loved burn. And Comicsgate is about that. And now we're all divided. And I don't know where anyone stands. I mean, I pretty much know where Englentine and Unranked Chevron stand. And I guess now where Flash and Umbrella Guy stand. I guess I know where Captain Cummings stands. He's just bailed. I think DNC is playing the neutral. He's Switzerland right now. Where's all the others? What's Doug Ernst doing? I guess time's going to tell, but this is not a good time for Comicsgate. Maybe it'll work out good. Maybe it'll purify Comicsgate. But I don't want to see the stink follow EVS. Because I'll tell you, people like Mags Visaggio, people like Eric Larson, all these pros that are just pieces of shit, they don't care about me. Ethan Van Sciver dropping Comicsgate isn't all of a sudden going to make them go, oh, yeah, Ethan, you're back with us. they're still going to hate him. So this could have a side effect of cleansing Comicsgate to an extent, where Comicsgate goes, look, all those bad elements you used to think Comicsgate was about, that's over there. And now Comicsgate isn't what you thought, which it never really was, but beside the point. But that doesn't help us either. Because whether All Caps wants to know, or whether you as a Comicsgate person, we need each other. We're still on the same side. Picking a new name, that's stupid. I mean, it's just like the Civil War, the Confederacy. Like, we're all on the same side. We're all Americans. Just deciding to be like, oh, I'm not going to have this name anymore suddenly changes your thoughts and opinions and what people should think of you. It's silly. It's really stupid. It's really unnecessary. And that's where I'm at. I think it's good for the pros to go and say, look, we're pros, and separate Comicsgate from, in that aspect as pros and consumers. But when consumers go over to that side, it's basically Comicsgate 2.0 versus Comicsgate 1.0. Whatever. It's Marvel Ultimates versus Marvel Old School. New 52 versus, original DC. It's dumb. It's still, I don't even know what to say anymore. But I think you know what I'm coming at. I'm going to wrap this up before I blab too long. You can watch those live streams. They're way longer than my crappy videos. Let me know what you think about all this. I can't get in your head. I have no idea how you guys are interpreting things. I know how I'm interpreting things, and I've tried to be as descriptive as possible so you know where I'm coming from. Rest in peace, Stan. Thank you guys for taking time to watch this. And please comment. And follow me on Twitter. You can comment to me there if it's a bitch on here. I don't know. Sometimes I like to do that. Thanks again. Bye.
You're right. I agree. I think the fans are the most important things in the comic book business, and I might add, in any form of entertainment. You're welcome. I feel you've got to be nice to the fans.
You're my favorite.
And I admire your taste. Because without them, you're nothing. Here you are, Galactus.
Thank you.